decreased risk, this is according to the research, decreased risk of dementia risk by as much as 41% just by increasing your magnesium intake.
Seriously? We all get these Instagram reels all the time. How do you know what's true? How do you know if they're false? How do you know if you should pay attention to them or just disregard them completely? Stay tuned to find out.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Your Health with Dr. Christy. My name is Dr. Christy Reisinger, and today I'd like to give you guys tips on how to vet things that you see online, whether they're reliable and whether you can trust them, and how to do a little bit of digging to see if what they're saying is true. So why should you believe me? Well, I am a double board certified internal medicine doctor and obesity medicine doctor, and I've been practicing medicine since 2005. I actually work in a community clinic and I see patients, and I have experience with the realities of medicine. I want y'all to know that I have no association with pharmaceutical reps. I'm not paid by anyone. I don't have any conflict of interests. And that's important when you're receiving information from people. The reason why I thought this would be interesting to talk about is that my husband, Matt, sent me a reel on Instagram and asked me to think about it or look at it. And I asked him, well, what did you think about this reel? And he was like, well, it was pretty convincing. It caught my attention and made me really wonder if it was something I should do. Well, that alarmed me because I knew just by looking at it myself that there were some things in it that I wasn't sure about. So I did a little bit of digging, and I'd like to just go through the reel with you guys to help y'all in the future when you receive reels like this to know what to do in order to see if it's something that you should follow, or see if it's something that you should look into more, or see if it's something to talk with your doctor about. Okay, so let's look at this reel together.
Magnesium and dementia risk. Here's what the research is saying, and this is what you need to know. For those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Clint Steele. I'm a brain and nervous system specialist.
Okay, let's stop there. So he says he is a brain and nervous system specialist. That right there caused me to question his credentials. There is no specialty in medicine for brain and nervous system specialists. There are neurologists, there are neurosurgeons. So I looked into his credentials and he's a chiropractor. There's nothing wrong with that. I just need y'all to know that chiropractors are trained differently than medical doctors. They go to school for 4 years, whereas medical doctors go for 4 years and then go 3 to 5 more years in residency. Chiropractors are not trained to do lab work or dispense medication. I also found his website, and he is selling something. He's selling his services and then also selling what looks to be like something to help for headaches and also some vitamins. So that also makes me question his motives for sharing this reel. Okay, let's keep watching.
I help people just like you improve your life by improving your brain function, specifically around preventing and in many cases reversing dementia and Alzheimer's disease.
Okay, so now he's saying that he knows some ways to prevent and even reverse Alzheimer's disease. If that were true, he would be a multimillionaire and we would have all heard about it. That also made me raise an eyebrow, because we don't know of any ways to reverse or prevent dementia at this point besides common sense things like getting enough sleep, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind healthy, controlling your diabetes, controlling your blood pressure, things like that. There's not a pill, there's not any quick fix to either preventing or reversing dementia that we know of at this point. Let's keep watching.
They gave one group 350 milligrams of magnesium. They gave the other group 550 milligrams of magnesium.
Okay, that's not true. This study did not give out magnesium. The study chose 6,000 participants in the UK, and then over 16 months gave them 5 online surveys where they had to do a dietary recall. And based on a list of 200 things, they determined the amount of dietary magnesium that they were ingesting naturally. They were not given any supplements. So that right there is misleading.
What they found at the end of 16 months was that the group that took 550 milligrams improved cognitive ability, improved memory, and decreased risk. This is according to the research, decreased risk of dementia risk by as much as 41% just by increasing your magnesium intake from 350 to 550 milligrams.
Okay, also not true. Like I said, they were not giving anyone magnesium. They were doing surveys to see how much they were ingesting naturally. So they considered an average intake of magnesium to be 350 milligrams. Anything above that was considered high, anything below that was considered low. But when you really dig into the data, the intake really ranged from 100 milligrams a day up to 700 milligrams a day, because as you know, our diets are so varied. So this is really an average. We also know that patients that tend to get a lot of magnesium overall have a healthy diet, because sources of magnesium are healthy foods like leafy green vegetables, legumes, and things like that. So automatically, if you have patients that are ingesting a higher amount of magnesium, they probably already have a healthy diet. They felt that a higher dose of magnesium would have larger brain volumes, which would then possibly decrease your risk of developing dementia, because we know the more brain volume you keep, the more and better cognition you have with age. There's a lot of jumping, though, between higher brain volume to dementia. And what's really interesting is that this was not statistically significant in men and was more statistically significant in postmenopausal women. The biggest problem that I have is by saying taking a supplement, you're going to have a decreased risk of dementia. And that's just not what this study showed at all. But at the end of the day, he is trying to sell something. He's trying to sell his magnesium supplements. And I don't think you can make the connection that he's trying to make from this particular study. So at the end of the day, be cautious when you see quote unquote doctors online that are peddling products and quoting studies. They need to say what type of doctor they are. They need to tell you specifically where the study is from, list the source so you can go look at it yourself. And if they're selling something, please, please, please be aware that they have ulterior motives and they may not be giving unbiased advice. Okay, so those are my thoughts. I hope that's helpful. Thank you for watching.